Hey everyone, I got a really good show for you today. I have someone that should be really an inspiration to all of us. She's jumped in the game with both feet. She's accomplished big things in less than 6 months, and she's a new college graduate. So we have a lot to look up to and forward to what she's doing. So we have Shamara Smith with us today. How you doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm so used to doing these in the morning. It's actually 11:30 for you at night, so I should say evening. Oh, that was funny. I said it out loud. I'm like, it's not the morning. It's like 11:30 for her.
I was gonna roll with it.
I appreciate that. Let the crazy guy do what he does. So why don't you just do us a quick favor and introduce the world to who you are, where you invest, all of that, just the basics.
Sure. Well, hi, I'm Shamara. I'm actually super new to the Richmond area, even though I'm super familiar with the East Coast. I've lived all over it. I went to Howard University up in DC. I started out as an accounting major, but then switched over to management information systems, but then somehow found myself into real estate. And so it was my senior year that it was super early in my senior year when I had secured a full-time job after graduation, and that's how I ended up down in the Richmond market. So a few months after I'd been working with this job, I took the jump and I bought my first property. So I'm living in a single family home, but I'm actually house hacking right now. So I rented out a few of the rooms, and I guess that was my first real taste of real estate. But then it was my real estate agent who actually introduced me to local real estate meetings. So I started going to RIAs, and it was after going to RIAs that I met my mentor and just honestly started building my network from there. And here we are.
Wow, that's great. So there's so many things you put there. I want to sort of peel back for folks. A new college graduate, in your early 20s, and you step up and buy an owner occupant house right away. That's
Yes,
at least
absolutely.
if you believe the news, that's uncommon, right? I mean, that's what you hear, right? I'm not sure. Are
Yeah.
you Generation Z or millennial? Where do you fit?
I'm 23. I think I'm a millennial.
Okay, so what you hear millennials is they're putting that off, and you stepped up and you did that right away. Was it because you wanted to plant roots, or did you already know real estate? You didn't want to rent, or what was it that drove you to say, I want to own a house, you know, right away?
So it was in college that I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I just learned that like the difference between an asset and a liability. And
That's
so I
great.
guess I took the jump. Yeah. So at first I was renting for the first few months, but I was house hacking while I was renting too. And it was a 2-bedroom apartment I had rented out, and somebody else was actually paying the mortgage or paying the rent. And I thought, I could actually be building equity if I just bought a house and then rented out those rooms. So that's what made me take the jump.
Look at that. Rich Dad Poor Dad, after 20 years, is still adding value. That's awesome. Because that was a book that started me off, let's just call it 20 years ago as well. So that's
Oh,
awesome. It's really funny. All right. So now your agent
mhm.
sees something in you clearly and says, you've got something, come to these local real estate meetups. And
Mhm.
you could have very easily said, no, I already got a job. I got a house. I want to go out at night. And you're like, no, I'm going to go check it out. See what's what. Is that kind of how it worked?
Yeah, it was. I guess after house hacking and realizing how easy it was to make money, I want to learn it. Like, what are the other way? I was like, I'm sure there's more to this. So I was hungry to learn more. So that's what really motivated me to go.
That's very cool. And then, a key moment is at one of these meetups, you meet now your mentor. How did you
Yes.
how did you bump into her, and what was that like when you first met?
So it was down at the Petersburg, Virginia RIA, the one that Ray Ferguson holds, and he was in a joint venture with Joyce Sims, and Joyce Sims is actually my mentor. So I just kept hearing her name like over and over again during the meeting, and I was like, I need to meet this person because they're doing big things. So I went
Yeah.
up to her. I had a business card and I handed it to her, and I said, I'm new to the area. I'm super interested in real estate. Could you show me the ropes? And she just took me under her wings and we hit the ground running from there. And that was in December. That was last winter. Last
Wow.
winter we met. And we've been working together ever since.
So that's like 6, 7 months ish, something like that.
Yeah, just about.
That's pretty cool. And you already threw it down. You're going to these meetups and you already know to bring business cards. I mean,
Hmm.
that's pretty cool. All right.
Yes, that was
So
one of the first lessons I learned while I was going to the meetings. And it kind of helps like offset the fact that I'm so young. It kind of gives me some credibility when I have a business card to pass
yeah. Oh yeah, because the last thing you want to hear is, "Can I have one of yours?" and I'll write my number on the back. I mean,
out.
it happens. I
Yeah,
get
that
it.
doesn't go over too
It
well.
doesn't go over too well, right? Are you in the business or is this a hobby? What's going on? So that's pretty awesome. All right. So now you find your mentor, you start hitting ground running. How do you make it like an equal relationship, right? She's obviously been in the business a little bit longer, obviously Joyce, but obviously you know to give
Mhm.
back. So how did that work with you and Joyce?
I think that was the scariest thing when I was walking up to her because I was like, what can I possibly add to this woman who's doing all these huge deals and these different transactions? But what I learned is like there's something to be learned from everyone. And the value that I was able to add is I'm really good at like social media and creating flyers and different things like that. So that's what I was able to bring to her. And it turns out that was exactly what she was looking for. So like the synergy was instant when we met.
Yeah, and again, what you're bringing here, it seems easy, but it shouldn't be discounted. Um, first off, most real estate people that have been in the game a while are very open to helping people and mentoring and all of that. But
Mhm.
it's easiest to do when that other person is adding value, right? It makes it easier for you to spend more time with them and give them more stuff. So the ability to help Joyce and be at her events and just be around, I'm sure is I'm sure your relationship is beyond just mentor mentee. I'm sure it's friends and good friends by now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just going off of that, one of the other things that I was able to add to the relationship was just time. Like, even though I have a full time job, she's just as busy with doing different deals. And she has gotten to the point where it's just so many deals coming in that she can't manage them herself. And so, just having the extra hands is really what she needed. And then I needed the hand, like boots to the ground, like experience as well. So, I'm benefiting a lot as well.
That's awesome. So you've talked about deals. Let's talk about one of those first deals. Do you remember one that you want to sort of talk about?
Yes, one of my favorites was actually a subject to deal that we did. And so we had sent out direct mail and we got a call back from one of it. And it was from a gentleman who had just gotten married last fall, but the marriage didn't go too well. So they ended up splitting like the next month. And now he's stuck with this house that he bought for his wife. Can't get rid of it. And then he got one of our letters in the mail. It was so cool. But so basically what we did is we came in, we took over his payments and then turned it into a lease option deal, just getting a renter in there who didn't qualify for like traditional financing and wasn't able to buy a house on their own. But I think that's one of the my favorite things about real estate is you're solving people's problems, you're adding value. And this problem that we were able to solve for him was being able to get rid of something. He was just in a very sticky situation, and we were able to get him out of it seamlessly.
Yeah, and what you've just went through is the magic of this business. You have to attract, I don't want to call it deals, opportunities, sellers, whatever you want. And then your
Mm-hmm.
job is to be the master of figuring out how do I want to disposition this and then
Uh-huh.
matching it with willing buyers, right? This one happened to be a lease option, but maybe next time it's a wholesale deal or a flip deal, whatever. I mean, that's when you do that, that is real estate investing right there. And
And I
very,
think the
very
biggest
impressive.
mistake I think the biggest mistake that I made when I was first getting started is I pigeonholed myself and I just called
Ah,
myself a wholesaler. But I realized very quickly that I was leaving so much money on the table because there'd be some opportunities that would come to me and I'd be like, oh, that's not a wholesale deal. And I would think I wouldn't be able to do anything with it. And had it not been for like all the people that I had in my network, um, I would have just passed over those deals. But just with everything that I learned, I realized that wholesaling is just an exit strategy. That's not what I am. What I am is a real estate entrepreneur. And after it's just finding a creative solution for whatever situation may arise.
yeah, I think that's a lot of value that we should poke at a little bit because I don't know if it's true across the country. It's true for my market, the only market I know in general, Fresno. which is 1 million people, right? So it's a decent market. We have a lot of people that just call themselves wholesalers, right? They watch YouTube University, they see the big checks, and they're all wholesalers. But I think what you've done, because you've built your network, you've grown your wings, is to realize it's really more than that. How did that come to you? You've come across these things at such a young age. I'm so impressed. But what was it what was the light bulb? I mean, was it Rich Dad Poor Dad again? I mean, I can't imagine what it was. What was it?
I think it was changing my circle. I
Oh.
went to Jim Ingersoll's event where I actually met you back in January. What he basically talks about is your network is your net worth. Like, you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And when I started surrounding myself with people, way more than 5, like so many people I've met in the last few months, but once I started surrounding myself with people whose focus and end goal was to create generational wealth, it kind of made me reassess what I was doing with this full-time job that I'm working at. It made me reevaluate, I guess, the lifestyle that I wanted for myself, what I wanted to be able to give to my family, how the capacity to which I could give back to my community. It was really just my network that motivated me to start on this real estate journey.
Yeah, and again, you're dropping little knowledge bombs all over the place. I actually believe that one of the things that hold most people back is their network, right? They've grown up, they have history, they've been friends for years, and whether it's, just calling yourself wholesalers because that's all you talk to, or because you have a full-time job and you're stuck in the rat race. It is, you sometimes have to make the hard choice to change up your friends, right? And add new ones. And I get it. It's hard, but I mean, just look at what you've accomplished by changing up your network, right?
Yep, exactly. I remember when I first started on the journey and I cut everybody off. I was doing so much research. I was going to different events. I was going to meetings. I was joining masterminds. My friends and family were calling like, where have you been? You haven't been posting. You haven't been texting us back. But I guess that was just a necessary thing that had to happen in order for me to make as much progress as I have in these last few months.
Oh, I mean, you're rocket fuel. You are on fire. It's so much. It's so fun to watch. So I am curious. You're done so much in 6 months. Let's talk about the next 6 months. What do you think is going to happen? What are your goals for the next 6 months?
Yes, the biggest goal that I'm working on right now is being able to replace my income, cover my expenses with rental income. And so
Wow.
I need 13 properties in order to do that. So that's the focus right now.
Okay. And do you have a timeline on that? So I like 13, but have you put a date on that? Is it end of this year, end of next year? What is it?
By December 2020, I will have my 13 properties.
So we've got, let's do math. Let's call it 19 months.
19 months. That sounds like a lot of time. That sounds doable.
What a month. You'll be good to go.
I read your book. Of course I can do it.
That's right. Hey, man, 1 minute at a time. That's all it takes. How do you get to 13? One at a time. So you have line of sight to your first couple?
Yes, actually, we're working on a deal right now where we close on June 17th on 5 properties, and we were able to. It was actually a wholesaler that I met at a real estate meeting, Cyrus, and he had these 5 properties under contract. But I talked to him, leveraged my network, and asked him if I could talk to the seller myself. And after speaking with her, she was more than willing to give me a owner to do owner finance or seller finance.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing with those properties.
Wow. And
turning them into rentals. We're trying to use the BRRRR method, actually.
So look at that. So you just play lollygag and say 13 by the end of 2020, and you've got basically 5. So now we're only talking about 8 more.
Work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. All right. Well, let's talk about them. So 5 houses. One. You bought a block, or what's the deal?
Yep, I bought a whole block on this island in this place in Old Town Petersburg. There's so much history behind it. It's in a historic district, and it's called Pocahontas Island. But yeah, I bought the whole block.
Nice. So they need some work. So you don't have to give exact numbers. Let's give round figures. So You've got owner financing. I'm guessing you're paying her monthly, probably
Yep.
something,
Hmm.
right? And then you've got to go borrow. I'm guessing she didn't finance the repair cost. You're probably going to get
No,
that
she did not.
elsewhere.
Exactly.
Ah, okay. So you're
You gotta
probably going
find
to
some
use your
private
network
money.
again? Yeah, private money. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So you've already got that lined up, you think?
Yes, it's been the coolest experience. I'm calling contractors out to these properties. Like,
Nice.
I was sitting on the porch of one of the properties waiting for two of the contractors to get there. And they just drove by a few times looking for who had called them to come look at these properties to renovate. But eventually they stopped and they asked me, and they're like, "Hey, do you know who owns these properties?" And I was like, "I own the block." But it was really,
Baller.
really cool. Like, I've never done a flip before, so it's just cool going through the whole process and learning the ins and outs of a flip. It looks
Yeah.
nothing like HGTV. I
No.
can tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, and again, you've got your network protecting you and making sure you're not getting scammed by GCs and all that stuff, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Again, your
Hmm.
network's your net worth right there.
It is. It absolutely is.
That's awesome. So let's give a timeline. So you're going to close, let's call it middle of June.
Hmm.
You've probably, it sounded like a fair amount of work. So we're talking 60 days, 90 days. What are we thinking?
Yep. But 90 days by the end of summer. We're hoping to have these properties rented out.
So June, so call it end of September.
Hmm.
And then you go back and you go back to the bank. You using the Burr method. I'm guessing, right?
Yep.
So you go back to a bank. Do you refi one at a time, or are they neighbors so you can do a portfolio loan? Have you thought about the exit yet?
No, I hadn't even considered it as a portfolio. I was thinking one at a time, but could you tell me more about the portfolio?
Well, you'll probably be able to do them one at a time because that'll probably give you the cheapest rates because you can get four easy.
Mhm.
And given they're all there, they may give you the fifth. But ask Joyce. Sometimes it's easier to go and do a portfolio loan. It's basically one loan.
Uh-huh.
Usually the interest rate's higher. But that's just another way to potentially get them done because they're all together. It's called a portfolio loan. But again, if
Okay.
you, are you, you're going to hold, and again, but I'm going back to earlier. So you're going to hold these long term. So you may
Yep.
want to just go get FHA loans because that'll be the cheapest, right?
Okay.
So like a portfolio loan would be like, at least in California, for me to get one
Uh-huh.
at like 6.25. I have friends that are buying rental properties like their first and second. They're getting something like right around 5. So there is a interest rate difference, but I can't get those 5% interest rates because
Oh,
I own too many. So a portfolio loan makes sense for me. Maybe it doesn't make sense for your first 5. Make sense?
got you. I'll definitely have to look into that. It
Yeah,
does. Thank you so much.
of course. Hey, you gotta give back. Gotta help. All right. So what I just heard you say is you're gonna have 5 by October 1st. So that means you've got October, so November, December. So you got 14 months to get 8.
Yes.
Seems like a layup for you. I'm just saying. I
Maybe
mean,
with a network like mine, yeah.
yeah, you know what? You either need to take the 13 to like 16, or you need to move December to August. I'm just saying. Your
I
call.
like it. Dream big. Dream big.
Come on. I'm just thinking. So let's try to give some advice to some people that we see them all the time. They're interested in real estate. They go to YouTube University. They may go to a meetup or two.
Hmm.
What were a couple of things that, and I think we've said them, so if we repeat them, it's totally okay, that sort of sets you apart that others could sort of follow, right? Or model themselves after some things you've done.
Read. Read a lot every single day. Audible would be my number one tip,
Okay.
because you're just able to learn so much more, much quicker. Um, and two would be like in a book I read by Grant Cardone, take massive imperfect action. I think people get stuck in analysis paralysis, and they think, oh, I just need to learn one more thing before I do this. And they're just so worried that they're going to mess up or do something wrong if they take action right now. But that is the fastest way to learn. And if you're worried about making these mistakes when you take this massive action, go to these RIA meetings, go to different meetups and masterminds and find a mentor. And you don't even need a mentor. You just need to have a circle of people around you who want you to be successful. And they're so easy to find at these RIA meetings.
Yeah, and then the other one I would say, and I'll be the curmudgeon in the room, is sometimes you need to cut out some old friends, right? I call them battery
Mhm.
drainers or negative folks. Um, you just don't need that at the beginning, right? I'm now to the state
Absolutely.
where I can deal with them, right? I have enough of a track record and success, so I can go, "Pfft," I just blow them off. But when you don't have that, you know, like one real battery drainer that's like your best friend or something, that's tough to overcome, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Something else that I would also add is the people that you connect with, make sure that you are adding as much value as you are taking. Because there are a
Oh,
lot of people who come to these RIA meetings and they'll ask, like, teach me this, or can you show me how to do this? But they're never giving back of themselves or of their time. Like, I'm realizing that a lot of people will pour into me and will do anything for me, and I've never done anything for them, but they are so appreciative of the fact that I just, like, when I introduce myself to them, I say, okay, this is who I am. What can I do for you? How can I add to your business? How can I help you grow? And
yeah.
just like that sets me apart so much because a lot of people don't do that when they're networking. They're really out to get something instead.
I would say that again. I mean, that's a gold mine right there. It's it's how you treat people, but also going in by giving, right? Giving of
Mhm.
yourself first and value. You're right. I speak all the time, and less than 1% of the people come up to me with that. So uh, say that again if you want to repeat it or different words. I think that's so valuable. Please say it again.
Just make sure that you are giving as much as you are receiving.
Yeah.
Be a What does Max Maxwell say? He says, "Be a go giver."
Yeah. Be a go giver. Yeah. And yeah. Max is leading by example. He's my hero. I like everything he does. And I think also we found your title of your video. It's take massive imperfect action to win. Something like that. All right.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
if I remember right, you're jumping on a cruise. I think it's tomorrow to again grow your network, financial friends. Um,
Yes, bright and early. It's the Cuba cruise by the Financial Friends Network.
and again, you're putting yourself out there. You probably know lots of people on the boat, but you're going to meet twice as many people you probably haven't met yet.
Yes, I'm so excited.
That's very cool. Well, I want to thank you for doing this. This was so much fun. Thank you for staying up late. I'd already be asleep if it was 11:30. I'm just old that way, so I appreciate that. And have a very safe journey. Take lots of pictures. It should be a very memorable and fun event. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
All right, and just so you know, this will be loaded at 6 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. So right when you're pulling out of Miami, it should be it should be uploaded.
Wonderful. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care. Bye bye.